SSL going into our second best of 5 of the night. It's going to be RagnaroK versus Patience, a PVZ. We just finished our PVT to start the day. It was stats over Beyond 3-2. If you missed those games, definitely check them out. They were very close.
Yeah, it was a pretty sick series, but we're going into our second of the night. And, you know, this one could go either way as well. I feel like Patience definitely improved a lot since Legacy of the Void, but, you know, some of the tournaments he went to overseas and stuff, he just didn't have the best results. I mean, this guy is a powerful player. He did beat Classic, as you guys could see, but I don't know, man. I don't know how well he's going to do here, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning this one as well because, I mean, as Patience doesn't have that many results. I mean, he did beat Classic, so that's a big deal. This guy doesn't have all that many results either, but he seems to be doing really well in StarLeague in terms of, you know, certain matchups. He did fall to Solar in the semifinals there, but then, well, that's how he got here, I guess. Yeah. Since then, he's lost a couple of games, one against Protoss, one against Zerg.
He lost to Trap and Sue in Pro League. He has a 1-6 record versus Protoss, which is pretty abysmal. Especially in a time that all Korean players are saying is that Zergs are dominating the ZVP matchup. But I feel like with how well he's been doing in this tournament, just like Beyond, I feel like these two players, this has kind of been their tournament. No other tournaments they've ever done this well in. I feel like there's a lot invested in this tournament for these two. I want to give the RagnaroK the edge, but it's the slightest. As I like to say with Artosis on my Heroes cast, it's like the 51-49 edge. Like, yeah. It's that slight.
Seems to come out pretty often as well in Pro League, you know, those 51-49 or whatever edges. I feel like it's pretty close here. I would actually give the slight edge to Patience. But either way, let's go into a slight interview here. Not a slight interview, a real interview with both these players.
네, 일단 연습 때는 저그전이 승률이 좋아서 자신 있어요.
저그 어윤수 선수를 꺾고 왔어요. 신이범과 어윤수 중에 누가 더 어려운 것 같나요?
신이범 선수도 잘하는 선수지만 어윤수 선수가 조금 더 잘한다고 생각하고 있어요.
그 이유는?
그냥 제가 연습 때 해본 결과로 좀 느끼기에는 어윤수 선수가 조금 더 잘한다고 느끼고 있어요.
그럼 오늘 경기 예상 스코어?
신이범 선수가 준비를 잘 해왔으면 한 3대2로 제가 이길 것 같고, 준비를 잘 못 해왔으면 제가 3대0으로 이길 것 같아요.
신이범 선수에게 한마디.
이범아, 예선에서 네가 형이랑 만나고 싶다고 했는데 형이 이번에 진짜 만났네. 이번에 형이 이기고 올라갈게. 미안하다. 감사합니다.
안녕하세요, 신이범 선수.
네, 안녕하세요.
프로토스 공식전이 1승 6패인데 불안하진 않나요?
그 1승 6패인 건 오늘 처음 알았고, 그걸 뭐 1승 6패라고 해서 전혀 불안한 것도 없고 제가 스스로 그냥 잘하면 될 것 같아요.
연습 때 누가 가장 많이 도와줬어요?
저희 팀 토스 영봉 형이랑 준호 형이 둘 다 잘 도와줘가지고 오늘 자신 있고 감사한 것 같아요, 두 명에게.
어떤 조언을 해주던가요?
그냥 프로토스의 약점이나 다전제 심리전 그런 걸 많이 알려줘가지고 오늘 잘 이용할 수 있을 것 같아요.
오늘의 예상 스코어는?
1세트 이기면은 3대0 갈 것 같아요.
그 이유가 뭔가요?
그냥 기세가 제일 중요한 것 같아서 기세를 먼저 타면은 손쉽게 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
조지현 선수에게 한마디.
지현이 형이 예전부터 알던 사이였는데 스타리그 뚫기 전에 그냥 장난으로 진짜 만나자고 했었는데 이렇게 만나게 돼서 저는 좋아서 그냥 이기고 올라오고 싶어요. 감사합니다.
So, there you have it. Very straightforward interviews from both players. Kind of stale. If you ask me, they were just like, oh, you know, I practice well and I practice with my teammates, and if he practiced well, maybe I'll win by 3-2, and if he didn't practice well, I win 3-0, or, you know, not the most interesting stuff. You guys
Yeah,
miss
it
much.
was basically like the quietest, most calm interview of all time. Both players think they're going to win with a 3-0 if they. RagnaroK said if he wins the first game, and Patience just says he thinks it'll be easy, and he's like, sorry, the qualifiers were talking, saying I didn't want to meet you in this tournament, but now that we do, I have to say, like, I'm just going to beat you, sorry. But Ruins of Ceres will be our first map here.
A very big map to start it off. I feel like Zerg not bad on this map against Protoss for sure. We've seen Zergs really crush Protoss in general so far, especially in Korea on this map. So maybe RagnaroK has a decent start off here, and maybe one can get that first win that he wants.
Absolutely. We'll have to see where the spawn locations are as well, because that will absolutely change a lot in this big 4-player map.
Yeah, well, let's get into game number 1 right now between Patience and RagnaroK on Runes of Ceres. Here we are in game number 1 on Runes of Ceres. Down in the bottom right in the red, Protoss player from Dead Pixels, it is Patience.
There he is. One of these players, the mercenary players I like to call them. And in blue to the top right, the former TSL Zerg is RagnaroK.
And he's going for a very fast pool timing here. I think it was 13-12, so going to get that speed out here very fast. The pool is also going to come out fast, and he's going to be happy to know that Patience is very close on this map. Patience also going for Gateway into Nexus, so going for a very fast Nexus here. RagnaroK may be able to find some damage here early on in the game.
One of the fans wants to see the StarLeague champion play against Alpha. So again, just we're seeing more of that discussion about the AI, but he's going to scout this Ling attack right away. The Ling's ignoring the probe, which is smart. And the Overlord is going to check the wall, see how tight it is, see what the potential here is. Now, this is not an all-in, but it can do a ton of damage if the Protoss is not set up correctly. And the Nexus is on the way here, about halfway down. This drone does mean he's going to add a third base, or rather a natural. And the Queen is on the way as well. So looks like he's just going to have Patience cancel this Nexus if possible. That's going to be the plan here.
Yeah, just wants to focus on the Nexus. He's getting his own base back at home. He is making more Lings, though, which is interesting. Definitely wants to continue the pressure for now. Pylon trying to get down here near the bottom next to the Nexus, but I don't think there's any way he can hold this now. Well, he's going to pull all the probes.
He's going to pull the probes, and Speed is about to finish. I don't think he realizes that. I mean, he must. He sent a probe into the main base. He's actually going to target down the Nexus here. With Speed done, he can actually kite around. Down goes the Nexus, so no cancel, no money back, and he's actually now going to have to simply try to transition. This Pylon is finished, so he's going to make the next Nexus he makes easier.
He's lost so much mining time as well, bringing down all of those probes.
Yeah.
Trying to stop that that Nexus from going down here. The Pylon did get canceled early, so he wasn't able to put down a photon overcharge either.
Yeah, I think he wants to bait an overcharge here right now as well, so that he can make that second Nexus a lot harder to make. 15 Lings on the way. He's kept this hidden, by the way. There's no information here for Patience about this. If he actually gets those Adepts surrounded and killed, this is going to be huge. Okay, can't engage. This does force the overcharge to be used.
That's really nice, and I believe there is a block at the top of the wall. Well, there's a probe waiting there. I just checked, waiting to make a Pylon just in case.
This is still not enough Lings to actually force a cancel on that second Nexus, so he's going to transition back at home, add some extra drones. And I feel like with all the lost mine time and the cancel on the Nexus, or rather the fact that the Nexus was not canceled and was lost and rebuilt, that's 800 mils instead of 400. I want to give the edge to RagnaroK here, but it's not a huge one. I mean, he did also himself invest a ton into the Lings. His expansion was late. He has one drone more than the Protoss after this move.
Yeah. Does have speed and map control, and as you mentioned, did force out a lot. He's got a decent expand path as well, that they're just going to be very far away from the Protoss. So it's going to be interesting. It is kind of far away from his natural, so if there's any Warp Prism play, which there probably will be, can definitely get some nice harass done over there if RagnaroK's not paying attention. And for now, we just do see these players getting their techs up here. RagnaroK just trying to get his third base up, while we do have a Stargate here for Patience.
Yeah, Patience going to walk across the map with 3 Adepts here. The Shade's coming as well. Checks this third base location, but he will need to check the other one because that's actually where RagnaroK has placed that third hatchery. I love this. He's going to check and then Shade in if he gets an opportunity to. Cancels the Shade prematurely. We'll see the timing of the hatchery, which is pretty late, of course. Now, these Adepts are going to die, but he's going to try to get into a nice spot here, and that he does, so he's going to maximize their value.
Yeah, trades decently here. He may actually be able to shade out. Oh, does shade a couple, but they're very low. Is going to snipe 2 drones, in fact. So getting a pretty decent trade there for those 3 Adepts. Get nice scouting information, 2 drones, not bad.
Well, there's a shot of the man himself. Now, Forge is on the way. Extra gateways here. He does have that wall set up at his natural, so he can take a third base fairly soon. We're seeing heavy spores coming out here for RagnaroK. Very much aware of the most common follow-up here in the Phoenix play, as well as, obviously the Oracles are quite powerful here and they're concerning, but the Phoenix follow-up is what you normally see, so he wants to also be ready for that. But we aren't seeing any Phoenixes yet here for Patience. Like I mentioned, he is going for that quick Forge. Nice snipe there on that drone. 4 kills in total on that Oracle.
Wow. Pretty slippery there, getting a decent amount of kills. Oh, another cancel. Well, the first cancel of the game here.
Yeah.
Did kill the Nexus before. That's a cancel, though, on the third base. So
that was pretty huge. And he's going to try to go for it again. The thing is, it's basically a net win, because if he forces force fields to be used, that's good too. I'm really liking how aggressive RagnaroK is being in this early game.
Yeah, he's using these Lings very, very well early on. Just like Leenock, Life used to do, It's quite nice to see out of RagnaroK, a budding new Zerg here. We do have a Hydra Den on the way, going quickly into those lurkers, no doubt. Very strong unit against Protoss right now that Protoss seems to not have the greatest idea of how to deal with effectively, at least. Did make the Roach Warren for safety, hasn't used it just yet, though.
It's actually going to try to grab an Adept here. Those units are so powerful that, like, 14 Lings or however many Lings that was, like 12 or 13
Adept
actually is looking. It's like the Adept is warping in, and there's a photo arbitrary. He's like, I guess I just have to let it go.
Yeah.
Hydra range and +1 coming out, so maybe perhaps a bigger commitment to those Hydralists here. Versus what he's up against, it makes a lot of sense. There's a beefy 3-base economy where he can just pump out pure Hydra. They're in positions to where they can do well. And if he does even just a little bit of damage, the Lurker transition you're mentioning is quite powerful as well, and then you just kind of siege up.
Yep. No surprises over here at Patience base. Going very standard Stargates, Oracle. Sometimes we see more Phoenix play, but skipping that altogether, going straight into double Robo, getting lots of Immortals out here fast, and we'll probably transition eventually into Disruptors, as is the way out here in Korea.
Yeah. It's actually interesting that all regions are playing a little bit differently in Legacy, because in the past, I feel like, say when a new expansion came out, even when StarCraft 2 came out, every region had its own way of playing. But eventually, I mean, as fast as we are now, like within the first few months of Koreans playing, everyone just copied the Koreans and did exactly what they did. But in this game, in Legacy so far, everyone's kind of like, I like this way better. I'm more comfortable with it.
There's a lot more room, I feel, to experiment, especially early on. Nothing's figured out just yet. And also the regions are separated in terms of these foreign tournaments, so don't get quite the influence just yet. Of course, they can practice and watch the Korean games, of course. But
yeah. All right, a ton of ranged Hydras here. +1 isn't done yet. He's actually going to hit the anti-timing here right before it's done, and good force fields.
The anti-timing, yeah. Patience right now just saying, okay, I don't want to fight you. Actually, just get away from me. Trying to make those force fields as effective as possible. Now just going to delay here, put down some overcharges. A decent number of force fields, sniping about 2 or 3 Hydras there.
A lot of reinforcing Zerglings here with a Hydra rain, and now +1 finished. These overcharges aren't going to defend him forever. The key here is not to lose the Hydras. Poke as much as he can, trade efficiently, and then start morphing some Lurkers. That Lurker den's almost finished, in fact.
Yeah, I love the concave here for RagnaroK too. Just poking, not overcommitting, not taking too much damage. He does need to get some more units over here, though, I feel. And to make sure he doesn't get caught off here, actually, on the side. Nice job by Patience keeping his army together and not really overextending here.
Well, as it takes a lot of time for those Lurkers to morph, and he didn't get the trades he wanted, he will back off for now. It looks like maybe perhaps morph them at home. And during this time, Patience moves out aggressively. He doesn't have too much information about whether there are Lurkers on the map or not. He has 2 observers, but I don't think this one's right here, and the other one's just a little bit further up, so he doesn't know how many Lurkers are there, if there are any Lurkers there. See that both observers are right here, so he doesn't have information about what the next step is for RagnaroK, so he doesn't want to walk into potentially Lurkers being sieged up. Now moving across aggressively, and not only are there a ton of Hydras here, but those Lurkers are ready this time.
Yeah, and he is going to see that with the Observer. I'm not sure if he actually saw the Warp Prism coming in, but doesn't look like it for now. There's going to be 4 Adepts in the back, and this Dark Shrine is nearing completion. Could start off with some Adepts to warp in, but RagnaroK is not responding to this very quickly. He's going to burrow these Lurkers and try to go for the surround, but it's not going to pay off here.
No, it's not. Lurkers trying to get into position here at the 3rd base. We could see some DTs warped in with that drop, and it still hasn't been dealt with yet from RagnaroK, so that's a bit of a concern, but this is the bigger problem here. DT is trying to defend right now.
Oh, there's no Overseer. He's got no Overseer, no detection at all.
Oh, yeah, he has no detection here, and you know, the thing is, even without detection, sometimes you can kill the DTs because of the splash damage, but it's just not working out for him in this case. And he knows that an Observer will eventually be there to clean up his Hydras, even though at that one moment there was not, or not Hydras, rather Lurkers. DT in the main base causing him some grief as well. Looks like it was cleaned up. 24 drones went down. He's now 5 workers behind. And RagnaroK needs to solidify his position at that 3rd base, or he's just going to find himself way, way too far behind.
He wants to attack here, but look at the use of all of these sentries right now. You were talking about the idea that force fields are gone for the game, but they are definitely not. Look at this, 4 DTs over at your 3rd base, trying to snipe down that Spore Crawler. Nice transfuses and really nice surround hold position there on the drones. Looks like it may just get there in time. One more swipe, and no, there goes your detection. You need an Overseer now.
Yeah, there was an Overseer in the main. I don't know where it is now. It's not with his army. Man, RagnaroK is falling apart like a house of cards. No spoilers, please. I haven't seen the newest season. But
you're getting a tweet later. Shouldn't have said that.
But no, seriously, RagnaroK's setup was solid. He had a really nice aggressive position at the 3rd base, but all it took was just a warp into DTs, and he is losing control of this game really, really fast.
Yeah, I love the way that Patience is saying the best defense is a good offense, you know? Or rather, the best
offense is a good defense.
But he's doing the opposite because he's defending and he's putting on the offense, just counterattacking, using DTs. It's really working out for him. He's bought himself a lot of time to get disruptors out now. This is where you can really just send those disruptor shots. It's really hard to unburrow your Lurkers in time to defend against those kinds of disruptor shots.
Yeah,
and he's also still got a huge ball of sentries in his army composition. He's got, I actually can't see it on my monitor. Hold on 1 second. He's got 5 in the army composition still from the beginning.
All right, well, this is a really good position here. Disruptors are on cooldown. He's going to target down this Nexus. He has +2 for those Hydras, so they're really wailing away at literally anything, especially the Nexus. There's the cancel. And, oh, that Disruptor shot is money. Second one, not so much. Going to go in here and now get this huge concave.
Oh, look at this concave. Here come the Lurkers getting into position. The Disruptor is going to come out, going to snipe 3 of the Lurkers. Now it looks like there's only 4 left with this army.
Yeah, and the Hydras, of course, still do decent damage, though, against these Zealots, especially because they don't have charge. And that Disruptor shot killed 2 Changelings. That's it. He's trying to actually snipe these Disruptors, but they do escape for now. 4 Lurkers, as you mentioned, just getting up to the front, now controlling this ramp. Another Disruptor does go down, and more Hydras are walking across the map. Looks like RagnaroK is starting to grab an edge here in this game.
He's got some nice tempo.
Oh, and the Observer goes down.
Oh, but look at that. A bunch of the Lurkers in the bottom left. There's only 1 left over. Does get tagged and sniped. There's only 1 Lurker left on the map.
It's actually such a close game right now. Look at the worker count, 62 to 56. Both players trading expensive armies. +3 does finish for Patience's army, but he never got a 4th base. That's his concern right now.
Yeah, he needs that right now, and I think he's moving down to get it. He's held on. He's kept enough disruptors alive. He's got 4. In fact, I don't even think RagnaroK should be here right now until he groups up. Like, look at this. He's losing so many of these units just to the disruptors.
Yeah, it's really important to split your lurkers and not have them stack on top of each other. This is just like Brood War. One of the ways to deal with lurkers, of course, is to drop Psystorms. Whether you have an observer there or not, they're going to die if they hit them. And if they're stacked up, they're really going to get crushed. And Psystorm's like really strong in Brood War, so it's a bit different. But yeah, if the lurkers are, even if you don't have vision of them, if you know where they are because you saw them a second ago or you saw them burrow, you can still kill them, and they do a huge amount of damage.
Whoa. Only sniping one of the Hydras there, but here come another couple balls, and there you go. Half your Hydras are gone.
This is like my birthday in the beta, man. I was like, whoa, that thing does what? All the Hydras die? That's actually too much damage, I feel, even though he doesn't secure this 4th base yet. That was too cost efficient. There are 6 disruptors on the map. And 2 more, so there's going to be 8 disruptors. I don't care if you had 1,000 Hydras.
Look at this. I mean, he's running out of units in the middle of the map. He's lost his tempo. He's lost his pressure. Now we've got a bunch of Blink Stalkers. Let me look at these upgrades. He's got +3 compared to the +2. He's also got Blink and Charge. No Resonating Glaives yet, but he's not adding too many adepts into this army. So, I mean, you know, he's got a really strong army. He could definitely put on the pressure. This is a big map. He still hasn't gotten his 4th base.
I'm not sure he realizes how ahead he really is, to be honest with you. Oh man, if that lurker actually killed those disruptors, that would be huge. It's not going to happen, but a bit scary there. I love that Patience continues to harass as well because he's keeping the economy decently low. His economy, though, is low as well. You see his 3rd base is almost mined out, and he still doesn't have a 4th Nexus. I think that's why he's being patient. No pun intended on attacking here, because if he's not, the concern is, because he doesn't have that much information, if he loses a 4th base again while he's trying to make it while he's moving out, then he thinks probably, oh god, now how can I make any more units? Because he's out of money.
The transition into mutas. We do have 12 Blink Stalkers with +3, and those mutas are going to have no upgrades. It's only 9. It's not an overwhelming number, but if you can attack with the mutas possibly, you know, take out some of the Stalkers. As you said before, the economy of Patience is not great.
Yeah, and the disruptors obviously can't hit Mutalisk. Taking out so many drones right now. This is basically the last gambit that RagnaroK can try to pull off here in this game. If he kills all those Stalkers, he wins the game. That's it.
Well, he's going for a base trade here, and I'm not sure if that's going to work. I mean, just looking back at home, the 4th base, it's got a couple of pylons here. There's a Mothership Core in position as well.
Yeah, I think the better option would have been to try to kill this army, you know, and just try to all in on it, like, well, hide the mutas. Oh, he's going to kill the Mothership Core, potentially. Yeah, that could change things.
No energy, actually,
on
the Mothership Core, and it does go down, and the mutas are doing a decent number to all these probes. A big warp and a Stalkers, and again, they've got Blink and +3, so can definitely fight against these mutas right now.
Yeah, I feel like what he was going to do, once you pointed out the muta transition, was he was going to wait until he had like 20 and keep them hidden, and then just all in on the Stalkers to try to win it. Right now, he has enough time to just warp in with the last of his money, a few more Stalkers. Some of them are separated, obviously, though. Oh, here he goes. He's going to go right on top of those now. Even though they have +3, it's a lot of bounce damage. No upgrades to the Muse. He's just targeting down the Disruptors.
Targeting him down, but look at this giant warp in from before.
Yeah,
joining the army. Could blink against these mutas. That's all RagnaroK's got left, and it looks like Patience has held on against the pressure of RagnaroK. GG!
GG, indeed.
Patience takes game number 1.
There you have it. I mean, a very back-and-forth game. RagnaroK leading at the beginning, but sticking around for those Hydras for a long, long time. And then there was just that one money disruptor shot that changed the whole game. Once he lost that chunk of Hydras, he didn't have the pressure he needed to continue to attack there. And that was basically the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it definitely saw RagnaroK having a bunch of trouble with the disruptors. I love the position he got on the 4th base a couple of times with the lurkers on the low ground and the Hydras in the concave shelling the 4th base. He kept Patience on 3 base and 1 base mining for so long, but it just wasn't enough because, as you mentioned, wasn't taking great trades. Once Patience got enough disruptors, and he waited so long, he bought himself so much time to get those disruptors out as well.